As Arkansas's population grows, so do our energy demands. But with the right mix of resources, reliable, affordable power will always be a reality. These resources are all around us in our rivers, blowing through our trees, even right below our feet. The answer isn't focusing on one resource, it's embracing them all. The electric cooperatives of Arkansas know that a balanced approach to power builds our communities and powers our dreams. Visit themixmatters.com and see why there's power in knowledge.
Well, the Senate race takes on a new meaning in this week's show. Janelle Lilley spent time with Tom Cotton on the campaign trail, which Janelle, we know included an actual trail.
Yeah, this time it included an actual trail. Recently, I laced up my sneakers and tried to keep up with Congressman Cotton on the campaign trail in his run for the U.S. Senate. During this race for the U.S. Senate, Congressman Tom Cotton likes to add some running trails into his campaign trail. Run most every day.
I try to. Sometimes we have to get up early on the campaign trail to make our first event, but most days, 5-6 days a week.
When did this habit start for you?
It started before I joined the Army. I never liked running in high school when I was a basketball player, but I figured I needed to get into shape for the Army, so I started running, and slowly but surely started running a little bit longer.
And faster. After winning an annual congressional 5K, Cotton now holds the title of fastest man in Congress.
I may be the fastest man in Congress, but that's a pretty low bar to clear. It's kind of like saying I live in the tallest building in Dardanelle. So it wouldn't exactly be a badge of honor.
They don't treat it as a badge of honor over there?
No.
Is there anyone that you particularly want to challenge to a race?
Mark Pryor and I can come out here to Repsamen Park Road and go for a run one day before we settle at the ballot box.
Well, it is a race for the Senate.
They don't call it running for office for no reason.
They certainly don't, and that includes running on his record. Cotton has taken some shots in political ads about a vote on Medicare. He supported Representative Paul Ryan's bill, which would gradually raise the eligibility age and eventually encourage seniors to shop for private insurance while still giving them the option to stick with traditional Medicare. But going forward, believes the half-a-century-old system needs to be modernized.
So what we're going to try to do is reform Medicare, no changes to the benefits that seniors worked a lifetime to earn or those approaching retirement, but for our generation, modernize it in a way that saves it not just for us, but for our parents.
So at your core, you really do believe that the Medicare safety net is necessary?
Yes, I mean, so Medicare is probably the most prominent example of a program that's lifted a lot of seniors out of poverty.
Unlike the 5Ks Cotton frequently runs to meet voters, this Senate race is more akin to a marathon. In fact, Cotton was considering the office a month before being sworn in as a first-term House member.
After a relatively short time in the House, I realized I couldn't have that impact as long as you had liberals in charge of the United States Senate. And if I wanted to truly achieve the kind of reforms on which I ran, like balancing our budget, cutting taxes, helping working families, repealing Obamacare, I could only have that impact in the Senate.
And the impact he wants goes beyond holding the seat.
You have to realize there is no or else in the Senate. There's no disciplining a soldier or firing an employee.
From his days in the Army, Cotton seems to be more comfortable in leadership roles.
It's not like a normal workplace where your boss can say do this or else.
Yeah.
So the kind of leadership you see there is much more about persuasion, teamwork, motivation, and you got to keep a good positive spirit about yourself, because you may be like mortal adversaries on an issue today, but then tomorrow, that person may be your only ally.
Cotton points to mentor former Arizona Senator Jon Kyl and Representative Ryan as examples of the non-traditional leadership role he wants to have in the Senate, particularly when it comes to the budget.
It just goes to show that with hard work and interest, you can become a thought leader on any specific issue.
For now, the work at hand is traveling around the state, sharing his message with Arkansans.
Most fun part of the campaign by far is meeting voters, shaking their hands, hearing their stories. You just meet all types of people from all across the state.
The day we caught up with him included a floating parade in Alexander, followed by a barbecue lunch, and then later a catfish fry in Garland County. He says the folks he meets energize his campaign and remind him why he's running.
So, you hear a lot of statistics from bureaucrats in Washington about the economy doing this or that. But Arkansans know what's happening in the world. They can see if their brother-in-law is unemployed, or if their mom is struggling to make ends meet.
Cotton says he especially enjoys meeting veterans and their parents.
I know what it's like to be overseas, and I've seen the stress that it puts on my parents when I was downrange. In some ways, it's harder on the families than it is on the people who are overseas.
His time serving overseas has shaped Cotton's views on foreign policy.
And when you look at what's happening with the Islamic State, what's been happening in Syria, the posture that the Gulf states are taking, what Russia has done in engaging in outright territorial theft, it's deeply alarming.
He believes the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria are more of a threat today than al-Qaeda on September 10th, 2001.
And they clearly have worldwide ambitions. In fact, they just changed their name this week from the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria to the Islamic State simply, showing that they want to establish a caliphate from which they can attack the United States and our allies. They're the most now well-funded and well-armed terrorist group in history. They've stolen millions of dollars from northern Iraq. They have all kinds of armor and weaponry they've stolen from the Iraqi army.
It's another reason Cotton has his sights set on the Senate, which deals more heavily with foreign policy and treaties than does the House. As it did while serving in the military, Cotton says his faith sustains him and plays an important role in his Senate run.
It's something that's an important part of helping me on the campaign trail, for instance, just like it did in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Why is that?
Well, it keeps me level and focused on the important things in life. You know, gives a sense of perspective, as it does for so many believers.
Another anchor, he says, is his wife, Anna. The two married this year.
We feel very blessed to have found each other. You know, we're a little bit older than your typical newlyweds. I'm 37. She's 36, although she'll be 37 next month. She just likes she likes to be called younger than I am. So we feel blessed that, you know, to be married for the first time, that we found our soulmates after, you know, many years of looking.
He's counting on family, faith, new friends, and a pair of worn-out running shoes to propel him through the next 3 months of this long race to November 4th.
And I was tired after just one day on the campaign trail with them. I can't imagine having to do it every day for the next 3 months.
Hey, you kept your breath very well asking questions while you were running. Janelle, thanks. And a reminder, coming up next week, we go fishing and have a conversation with the incumbent U.S. Senator Mark Pryor. And after the break, Mark Swaney, the Green Party candidate for U.S. Senate, and Nathan LaFrance, the Libertarian candidate, weigh in on the issues they think are most important.